I'm Ryan, this is my brother Daniel, and this is Rolls in the Family, and today we are continuing our countdown of our very favorite board games of all time. We are to 30 to 21. You know, Daniel, whenever we do this list, I feel like each year I'm like surprised to see games that are in like the 30s or 40s. I'm like, man, like that's a good game. Like there's really that many more. I rank higher. And the reality is, yes, there are. There's a lot of good games out there.
There are.
We are also running a board game giveaway as part of this countdown, which we have done in years past. And you could win a game that we talk about today. And you can also get multiple entries to increase your chances of that happening. So in this video, we are going to give you a secret word. There is a Google form down in the description that you can go and fill that out. Enter the secret word. That will get you one entry. You could go back to the last video. See the secret word. Get an entry. Go back to the last video. You know, there's ultimately 4 entries to be had leading up to the announcement of the winners in the final 10 through 1 video.
That's so
be
exciting.
Sure to get your entries in. So you know, you might win. Somebody's got to win.
Somebody's got to win.
Somebody's got to win.
Which means it might be you.
Might be you. We will also have links to all the games down below if you just don't have confidence that you're going to win and you just want to, or you can't wait and you just need to go buy it right now because we convince you that it's going to change your life.
Maybe you just aren't feeling lucky, so like I might as well just buy it.
Yeah. So we will have links to all that if you want to check, or maybe just want to research a little bit, see if the games are good for you.
Right.
But we got lots of games to talk about, so we're going to hand it over to Daniel for him to talk about his number 30.
Yeah, Ryan, here we go. First, even a few games in my 30 through 21 are some new ones. In fact, I'm glancing over today's games. Yeah, we've got some new ones.
Which is funny because you know what I was going to say? My 30 to 21 has no new games.
Wow.
So
that's actually quite surprising.
Daniel's Cult of the New. Ryan
or
is
your new
the
games
steady voice of reason.
Or your new games are higher.
I'm really Cult of the New.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 30, man, I think the first time I played this game, I was unsure of how I felt because it was so intriguing and amazing and yet almost too far in just how aggressive the game is, but it didn't quite go too far, and which is why it's making it on my list. My number 30 goes to Arx.
Wow. I didn't know if it would make your list.
I know. You know, I was thinking about it, and man, you know, I think one of the things we love games that have tension, and oh my gosh, this game has tension to the like utmost. Like I can almost like feel it right now. Of like,
Daniel was physically ill.
I was
sweating.
but so in Arx, you know, you've got this hand of cards, and one such a unique mechanism around the whole kind of trick taking. Like that's just a really kind of creative way around how you're getting things done, and yet such a difficult system to try to solve, to try to figure out what you want to do. Like you're just, you know, everything in this game is so tense because ultimately, you know, every time, you know, you go around, it's going to be just the 3 scoring things that whatever people, you know, do. And those are the only things they're going to score.
The only way to get points.
It's the only way to get points. And then with the hand of cards, I mean, there's just so many times where you're like, okay, but how do I get this done? Because do I want to get the, you know, I need the lead, especially if I want to try to like claim, you know, determine what's going to get scored. But man, I just found in this game the tension around the table and the board state was just so fascinating. Now, where this game almost goes too far is like, I mean, this is one where in the matter of a turn, you can just have something go horrible. You know, like someone makes a move and you just get decimated because of it. And I don't, you know, you got to be okay with that feeling. I think we joke about Arx, you know, this is not a game everyone's gonna like. In fact, I would argue it's a very on our list here. This is one of the more polarizing games. And yet I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, just because it was such an interesting puzzle to try to figure, and everyone's experiencing this, right? So you're not the only one sitting there like, how do I make what I want to have happen? You know, I think the joke in Arcs is that every hand feels like a bad hand, but you know, it a little bit almost gets at what we like in some of our other games of getting something and just figuring out, how do I, with what I've been given, try to score in one of these.
It is
three
an
things.
Extremely tactical game.
Yes, which is probably
like there's some strategic elements of kind of how you're thinking about things long terms, but it is an extremely tactical game, and it's a tactical game within one of the most unique, you know, tactical ecosystems that we've played in a game. To your point of like it being, you know, very tense with the scoring. I mean, you literally can't score in this game without it being at the expense of someone else. Like you're, you know, getting it instead of them, and that leads to so much trying to steal from each other. And it's but
a lot of player self-balancing as well, obviously, because you know, if one person's in the lead, everyone's, you know, trying to block that. And so man, I haven't played other Cole Wehrle games. You know, I know you've played Root, but what a unique design. So yeah, there you go. Number 30, a little bit of a surprise. Arcs.
That is a surprise. I mean, you had it higher than I did. I've played it quite a bit more than you.
Yeah.
Though I would say, like, on paper, if we were to both play it the same amount, it is probably more aligned with your tastes than mine. Like, I could see it being higher for you. It'll be interesting to see if you get the chance to play it a little more.
Yeah.
Who knows if you'll ever get to play the Blighted Reach expansion, because it really is so different.
Right.
But very nice. Glad you, despite your, you know, sweating, stressed out.
You know, sometimes you need a good sweat in a board game.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's good for your health. My number 30, speaking of unique games, one of the more unique games in my collection, it really is what makes it, you know, the more unique a game is when you like it, the more it just feels like it is locked into the collection and there's no way it's ever going to get replaced. That is very much how I feel about Millennium Blades, which is down one spot, which is honestly pretty good because I know there's several new games above it. So it's actually kind of moved up in relative rankings. It has
objectively moved down, right?
Yes. Millennium Blades is this collectible card game experience distilled into a single session where you're the player of a collectible card game and you in real time are throwing down money and buying cards, and everybody's looking at these cards and trying to find combos and stuff so that you can build a deck that you think will perform well in the tournament. But at the same time, you're trying to build a collection that has all, you know, the same type. And so, this, maybe I should use this. This would be better for me to do the collection. And there's kind of some of these other elements that you can do with trading, or like with the newer version I have, kind of the NPC things that have like different objectives that you can do to get some extra points. And so it's a wild experience during that phase. And then it all feeds into this actual tournament phase where everybody gets to play their deck. And it's, you know, we often play with like 3. I think 3 is the best player count for this, because it's nice to get a little bit more than just 2 people head to head, but like 4 to 5 is starting to, you know,
get very long.
You're gonna be there a long time. There's a lot going on. But man, there's nothing like it. I have so much content for it, and it's fun to just always be seeing new cards. And I mean, that's a lot of the appeal of this type of game. You gotta know that there's some people that are gonna hate this game. Like you have to know you're the type of person that likes looking through a bunch of cards and like reading a bunch of text and looking for combos and figuring out how things might work together. You know, that kind of deck building.
There's so many people I can think of that would just absolutely hate
and
this.
It doesn't get to the table a lot for that reason, though I have people in my rotation that I know enjoy this game, and so I know I can get it to the table. Let's see, I did get it played this last year, which is good. I think it had been a little while, but yeah, it's just there's nothing like it, and it is an experience. I don't always want this experience. Like, it's not a game that I think I would want to play super regularly, but every time I get the chance, I have a great time with it.
See, what I'm waiting for, Ryan, is, so this is, you know, the meta of you're playing someone playing. What if I want to step one further back? I want to play a game where I'm playing someone.
You're a collector of board games.
You're a collector of board games.
You might choose to collect Millennium Blades. In which case, let's just keep moving up the chain.
Keep moving back.
There's a lot of meta board games out there these days, leaning into little wilder things. So,
and we're not talking.
Let us know if you steal that idea.
We're not talking about Facebook. So, Meta. There you go.
Yeah. Yes. I thought you were talking about Meta World Peace.
Oh yes. Very nice, Ryan. Things you never thought we'd say on a board game video. My number 29, another new game. Ryan, you just introduced me to all sorts of great games this year. This one,
I try
more so than I don't know if I'll own Arcs. It's one of those just the experience, but it's a little hard to see it. This one, I do think I will own someday, because it took an experience I had with a prior version of it, which was good, and it made it great. This goes to Clank Catacombs. So I owned Clank in Space. I think I've played the original Clank once, maybe as well. And came away thinking it's a good game. It's got the kind of deck building's fun and all of that, but the Clank Catacombs takes that and the injection of a variable map with all of these tiles that you're placing out and rotating, it truly transforms the experience of the game, and makes it a leap better in my opinion. The exploration in Clank Catacombs is so much fun. Like getting one of those tiles and you get to just the tiles are so cool. They just have cool things on them. They almost remind me of the game. Is it Suro? What's that? Well, with the winding pad, but it's kind of like that, right? Where you're playing it out and it's like, oh, now this goes this way and whatnot. And just that exploring is super fun. But then obviously the whole Clank element of trying to figure out, have I explored enough? Have I gotten enough, accumulated enough things? And then when do I turn back and run? And so it feels like it took a great game, just a really solid mechanism that a lot of people love in Clank. And I think the injection of the variable map and all of that really, really elevates it, where this is just the one I would always want to play. So ton of fun with it. Got to play it a couple times, and it's one that I feel like is a decently accessible game too. It's really not that complex. The deck, it's a very simple deck building.
Yeah, especially if someone's played a deck builder before. Right. Then it's a really easy teach.
So it really has a lot going for it. So I'm looking forward to owning this one eventually, but comes in there at my number 29.
Nice. Yep, it's a good one. My number 29 has been in this area of my rankings in past years. I think last year it was I got a couple plays of it. There were more plays before. In this last year, I played it 114 times. So feeling pretty good about my confidence ranking.
That's a lot of TI4 games.
And that is really because my son now was old enough to play it, and it rose to be one of his favorite games. This is Crokinole.
Nice.
And it has been fun, to just be getting Crokinole to the table again, and it's been getting to the table, let me tell you. But in playing it so much, it's so solidified it for me as the kind of evergreen game that I already thought it was, of just I'm never going to get tired of playing Crokinole.
Yeah.
I have fun every time I play it. It's, at its best when you're against somebody who's evenly matched. We were kind of handicapping for a while with my son that I would get more. We are to the point now where we play completely even 12 dis. He's yet to beat me, but he's been close.
But when he does,
yeah, man, that'll be a
moment.
Yeah, proud moment as a parent. And then the beginning of the end. I think about that. It's going to be initially with games,
exciting.
Just generally. It's this proud moment. And then over time, it's going to be gosh, dang it. They always beat me at these games.
I know.
I should be able to hold my own against my children.
I know.
But for now, we're not there yet. But it's been so fun to play it a lot. I've played a little bit of, had a few games of 2v2 as well this year, which reminded me also that's just great fun and it's an easy way to teach with a group and sit around and chat and play that. So Crokinole, an absolute lock in the collection that I am very happy is getting a ton of play.
Yeah.
Someday if Toby's like really evenly matched with me, I was like, maybe we need to, we'll record a best, 5 series or something and throw it on the channel. If
That'd
people
be
want to watch some, if you want to watch
I'd watch that.
Crokinole, father-son Crokinole.
Yep. That's what the people are here for, Ryan.
Yeah.
Very nice. My number 28 is a probably the most deceptive game in terms of box size and presentation to complexity. One of the more deceptive ones, and yet I think one that we would say if it was readily available, we would encourage lots of people to go get it, because this goes to Mechs versus Minions. This one has really stayed steady in kind of this in the 20-ish range for me, and I mean, I don't think either of us have even played through all of the scenarios in Mechs versus Minions.
So I just played this recently, and I checked, and I only haven't done the final one.
Okay, very cool.
But most of the newest ones I've still only done like once.
But I mean, there was a time where we had some people over that we had never played games with, but knew a little bit. They knew they liked some games and whatnot. But like, this was the one that was pulled out. And it's always funny when you drop the box on the table, because at first it's like, what in the world are we getting into?
It's got all these minis.
Yeah, but this is just pure fun. It is one of the most, I think, of these type of games that produces laughter at the table. Like, it truly it's not often where board games that aren't a party game produce so much moments of laughter, and Mechs versus Minions does that, because you are manipulating this mech by running your command line, right? You're kind of programming your mech, but when you take damage, it causes damage cards to get placed on your command line, and yet you can figure out how to work with it, which is honestly one of the most fun parts of the game. So, now every turn my guy is going to turn to the right. Well, no worries. I can use that to my advantage. And
just going to go in a little circle.
Yeah. But then you can also have the flip side where, you accidentally bump one of your teammates and it pushes them over, and now suddenly it ruins everything there, dude. I mean, what's so fun is you're trying to accomplish this objective. And I'll think about like one of the early scenarios where it's like, okay, tow this, whatever bomb thing to this space. So very simple. But yet, your minions are like, you're just, the path to get there is just so funny, but also, interesting strategy on like how to best make it work.
You're like, I can tow it to here, but then I'm going to like be running 5 spaces away from it. So you're going to have to take it from there.
I know. And it's a game that makes you feel incredibly powerful as you are just as you build up, you are just wiping enemies. So this one again is, I think, a little bit of a dark horse in terms of, I think a lot more people would like this game than maybe people realize, just given the maybe box size, price, and it not being super available. It really has just hit well with a lot of different groups. So there you go, Ryan. 28.
Nice. My number 28, I believe, is my highest ranked game of games that I've played by the great Dr. Reiner Knizia. I admittedly haven't played that many games.
He's a doctor?
I believe so. He's referred to as
doctor. Okay.
His doctorate in something. I don't know.
Board games.
Yeah, probably just being a boss at publishing tons of board games. This is actually a kind of remake of one of his more popular games, kind of a variant iteration on it. This is Yellow and Yangtze. And this is no longer available. I believe there's a new edition that's called Huang.
Yeah.
That's basically the same game, but by a new publisher. Inspired by Tigris and Euphrates is the original game. And this one is just a really brilliant tile-laying interactive ecosystem of everybody putting these tiles out. And the tiles are kind of like neutral, like they don't belong to anybody. But then a group of tiles is the state that people can place their leaders next to, and you have leaders of different colors. And so if I put my green leader connected to the state, every time a green tile is added there, the green point is going to go to me because I have the green leader. And then if you make the board is has hexes, which is what's different from Tigris and Euphrates, which was like a square grid. And if you put 3 hexes next to each other, you'll get to form a pagoda on that little triangle.
I love that
well,
word.
the pagoda now gets to produce points every turn for the person that has the leader there. And so you're kind of, all building up and kind of figuring out where you want to be, but you can just get in other people's, because the states don't belong to the people. Like if you, if there isn't somebody of that color. But where it gets so fascinating is when you start jockeying for position and you start going with the same color into something, which causes, I believe it's called a revolt. And so you have to resolve that because it always has to resolve that there's only one of each color in each state. And then you can also have a war where 2 separate states are connected by a tile. And now you may have multiple leaders that are in conflict. Talk about games that just... We say that this is something we like with just like 2-player abstract strategy games, where it's like where there's like no luck. We just want to get through a few turns so that it can like evolve into an interesting board state, and then it's like, oh, this is really interesting. Yeah. This is the game that gives me that feel the most in a multiplayer context of like we kind of just get going, but as it builds up, it just is so interesting. And you on your turn you get 2 actions. And you can do the same action, and there's a lot of variety of actions you can do. So the breadth of your options is big enough that there's so much creativity with those 2 moves of what you could do. And there's so many times that I'm playing this game that I or somebody else do something and it's like, that was clever. Like, the way you discarded some blues to do a peasant revolt to remove a tile, and that made it that you actually could get into this thing that you couldn't before. I mean, there's just... I love that feeling in a game because there's games where you very quickly know what your options are on a turn, and then you're kind of crunching out which of these is the best for me. Whereas this, it's like way too broad to know all your options. Right. And so there's so many times where you get to get that feeling
discovery.
Of you came up with a really clever play.
Right.
Or the opposite, where you're like, what was I doing? I actually have a horrible record in this game. But I have fun every time I play it. Yeah.
Wow.
So played it once in the last year.
Nice.
It's one that I got to have the right group for. But yeah, really enjoy Yellow Galaxy.
Awesome. Moving to my number 27, this one dropped. Interesting. My 27 and 26 like almost flip-flopped from previous year's positions. Dropped from 16 down to 27. And I think I know a little bit of the slide. I've cooled a little bit, but still one of my favorite just kind of Euro games. This goes to Underwater Cities. Got to play this one once this last year, which was nice. But this game, I think what's most fun about it is that whole tension around placing your action on one of the 3 colors, but then wanting the color to match the card that you're playing in your hand, because if it matches, you get to then play the card as well. So you're always it's a game of a lot of optimization around that element. And then ultimately you're, kind of building up your cards that you're able to do actions with. And you've got I don't know what you call the board in front of you, but it's your underwater city. That's they should call it that. But anyways, so, trying to figure out building, all the little plants around, each of the cities and whatnot. For the game has lots of production. It's one of those games that feels like it's so easy to miss something. You have to really in the production phase.
Production phase.
You have to be like, okay, walk slowly.
Yeah, you got to kind of just trust that everybody around the table is,
as long as we're all within the same margin of inaccuracy, it's close
in the
enough.
Same, direction.
Right. So this one I've really, really enjoyed it. I know my wife likes it a lot. I think the reason it's slipping a little bit, I really don't like the presentation of it.
Really?
Like just the components. I mean, I know I've raged on this before, but what in the world are those action pieces? Like, Like, what am
That's
I even?
the thing that's
What am
still
I?
tripping
What am
up
I
Daniel.
even playing? And it's like kind of not the nicest cardboard and whatnot. And I don't know. The theme just doesn't get me really, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like the mechanical system is a ton of fun, but it's one that honestly, just whenever I think about playing it, it's a little bit of a hindrance and whatnot. So still super fun, still enjoy it. But I don't know. I feel it is dropping out of my. I do feel a gap between this one and my all-time favorites. In a collection, but. 27. That's still fairly high, Ryan. So.
Well, you have the expansion now, I believe.
I do. Yeah,
which does mean you have the nice triple layer boards. So.
Yes, the boards very much improved.
That's got to count for something.
That does count for something. It wouldn't even be on my list if I didn't have that.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I agree. Underwater Cities has kind of always been in that place that it's like almost in the top tier of that weight of games, but it's also been like good enough and unique enough to keep it around.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. My number 27 is one of the hottest new games to our collections in the last couple years. Pun intended.
Yeah, okay.
It is Heat.
I was going to say.
Pedal to the
Such
metal.
A good pun. Wow.
Such a good. So debuted last year at number 23, has just dropped 4 spots. Heat's great. This system is so elegant, so well designed with the way that you do the card play and have to manage your speed and manage the corners, but also want to push your car at the right moments to the limit over the course of the race.
I never do it at the right moments.
Not past the limit.
I do it at all the wrong moments.
So that you can have a chance at winning.
Yeah.
Absolutely love the opportunities I've gotten to play with, like the full garage module that you're getting unique stuff. Like that really is what gets me excited about like continuing to play this again and again. Still haven't touched even the like season campaign play kind of stuff. That would be very, very fun to try. But we recently, our most recent game of this, we got to play one of the new maps from the Heavy Rain expansion. I think it was the Mexico map, which is just, not huge differences, but it's fun to just have a little bit different. The dynamic of like the order of the turns and just like the things adds a little spice into the game. This just feels like it's going to be an evergreen racing game in my collection. I'm excited to just get it to the table with more groups, and there's been a few games that have entered my collection recently, and this is one of them, that are in this category of kind of more of a gamer game, but can go all the way up to 6 players. And that was like it's always been very hard to find that in something.
And even more players now, right?
Yeah, you can even go to 7 with the expansion I have, and I think you can go to 8 if you get the next one. And not just can go to it, but is like, I would play it at that player count, and it would be good. And in fact, it might be the best, right? Like playing with a full human player count. The game has a cool thing that lets you, even when you're playing with fewer, you can fill it in with the Legends module, which works great and lets you get that full feel. But it's an absolutely fantastic design, and is holding strong in my 20s.
Awesome, Ryan. My number 26, which flip-flopped with Underwater Cities here, despite not playing at all this last year, just something within it. This is called Arbitrary Rankings. This goes to Ultimate Railroads. So Ultimate Railroads, obviously the successor to Russian Railroads, which includes all the kind of expansion modules, stuff like that. Yeah,
it's less of a successor and more like a big box Ultimate Edition, because it includes Russian Railroads.
Yes. Russian Railroads kind of with all the expansions. So a lot of different modules and whatnot in it. And I haven't played all of them, played several of the modules. But this game is really just a great time. My wife really likes this game a lot. I think it's got so much interest around just kind of, you've got these like 3 different railroads that you're trying to kind of play on. And it's got like different paths, such different paths that you can take in the game. Like you could do the path where you are just building out your railroad, like the actual physical railroad like crazy, and upgrading it and going really far. Or you could do the path where, and it's been a little while since I've played, but whatever's on the bottom of the board, those I don't know what they're called, but there's like a whole nother path down there that you could take. And it's funny, the game was good, but then I remember when my wife and I were playing it like the first time, and then we started getting some of those, and again, titles of things is not going to be great, but they're like these things that you unlock. Like you get to a thing and you get to pick one of these token things, and they're like crazy powerful. Like, you know, this is one of those games where you are just building and it's okay, I got this, and oh, now that gets me this, and okay, now that I got this, it gets me this, and so it just continually is feeding you with a lot of satisfaction around that, around a really just solid worker placement style game. So it's interesting. I don't know forget the name of the modules, but I remember playing one of them. I've really
definitely German railroads.
Yeah, German. That was actually the one that I really enjoyed. That was a really fun module, because what it did was it made some of your railroad tracks have like variable spots, like a rectangle, and then there's, when you get there, you can, you know, pick from one of the railroads out there. So a little bit solves maybe some of the variability limitations of just base, you know, Russian railroads. So I thought that was really cool. Almost want to play that every time. But yeah, got to get really, you know, every time we go through a list like this, there's the few games that are like, got to get that one to the table again, you know?
Yeah.
And this one really jumps high for that, because
you know, as your kids get older, we'll see if you and your wife get more, because that's the thing, is a lot of these heavy Euros, Underwater Cities the same way. That's your scenario for getting it played. And you guys have been in a little bit different season.
Underwater Cities as well, so
nice
potential.
I feel like Ultimate Railroads, Russian Railroads, is one of the best games in the mechanisms being like almost inspired by the thematic thing, because it feels like a train. You feel like you're slowly going, and then you are just picking up steam and never looking back.
The points are crazy in this game. Yeah, you like by the end, you've got an engine that is just like.
It's exactly. The fact that it's an engine building game with train engines, it just feels like this was made to be. So kudos to the designers. I'm curious how much that was like a design goal. Let's try to, you know, create this momentum of train.
Yeah.
It's cool. My number 26 is a long time game on my list. I got it, I think, back when it came out in 2011.
Wow.
And I have played it 263 times, but only once in the last year. This is Lord of the Rings, the card game. This one has dropped a little bit, and it's probably just because I'm not playing it a lot. And when I do, it's been solo lately. I'll play two-handed solo.
How sad.
Whereas my favorite way to play this game is with another person and going through. But this game for a long time for me has kind of scratched that itch of the feeling of more of like a collectible card game where you kind of like build the decks ahead of time, but doing it in a cooperative context. And that adds this element with the deck building of, I'm not just building a deck, I'm building two decks that complement each other, which is very interesting. Throw on one of my favorite intellectual properties in Lord of the Rings, and you just have a package that's, you know, comes together with a lot of things I really enjoy. I love how replayable all the stuff in this is. Like, they've kind of more recently moved to, you know, more of a campaign structure with a lot of it, which is cool, and I like that.
Right.
I still like a lot of my older stuff for it, where it's just like, just pick scenario, and every time that scenario is going to be different because it builds the deck, but everything comes out in a different way, and depending on what decks you're playing. So this is a game I still really enjoy. I don't see ever getting rid of. It's going to be very interesting to see, like, if it sees a second season of, you know, as my kids get older, or maybe I just have more time for solo play, because that's the hard thing, is like, I don't know, it's a little bit more involved as a solo game than some other solo games that I might pop out on like a weeknight, and so it doesn't get to the table a lot. And then because it's kind of campaign like, well, if you're not getting up to the table regularly, then you're like, oh, if I come back, I'm going to have to remind myself like what was even going on and like how some of this stuff works. So it's really been a little bit of a barrier to this getting played more. And actually, it's the reason why Arkham Horror, the card game, which I have, but did not make my list. I don't even know if I ranked it this year. Because I just haven't, I've played like the intro missions, but I haven't really played it, and it's the same thing that it's just like it's almost kind of just waiting until I have the right opportunity to maybe play it with somebody else.
Right.
But yeah, Lord of the Rings is a card game. It's a system I really enjoy and have spent a lot of time with.
Yeah, Ryan, you'll be shocked it didn't make my list.
I'm just so shocked.
Yeah,
Dango's not played it. You may have played this like fewer
I
than
could probably
5
count on
times.
one hand. Very nice, Ryan. My number 25 is another new game, and I only played it once. But it really did, especially it being a successor to a game that I enjoyed and felt like this just delivered the experience that I was wanting in this game. My 25 goes to Andromeda's Edge.
I was very curious to see where this one was going to pop up.
You know, so this was a game we played recently together, and it was so much fun. Like, I mean, and so I had Dwellings of Eldervale before, and in both games, very just interesting kind of mechanic around it being kind of a hybrid game of like you're placing your workers out, but then this whole system of you're placing them out, but then with calling them back, and then. But when you call them back, you're placing your workers on the like engine that you've built in front of you. And so there's no like just wasted turn. You're always doing things. In fact, sometimes the recall is almost more powerful than what you're doing out there. But then obviously has kind of the whole combat side of things. Andromeda's Edge just felt like they improved all of the things that I just like didn't particularly love in Dwellings. And so, like the fact with combat, the whole targeting edition, where now when you roll, it's however many ships you have, that's the minimum value that you can have. So essentially, the more ships you have, the less likely of you just, a one ship coming and rolling a 6 and ruining you or whatnot. Still can happen, but much less likely. I thought the whole engine that you're building in front of you, it was just a lot more interesting, like the cards and whatnot. I don't know. For some reason, this one just really clicked. I know there's a deluxe edition. I have the base game, and I think it is beautiful. Like opposite end of the spectrum of Underwater Cities, this looks just fantastic on the table.
Man,
and
ragging on Underwater Cities.
Sorry,
I don't think Underwater Cities looks that bad.
I'm really dragging on it. And I don't know, just having it all on one board. I know that wasn't the case in Dwellings. I don't know. It just gives it a really nice.
Feels a little more cohesive.
It does.
Yeah, I love the box size of this thing. Like if I was to get this game, I would definitely get like the standard edition.
I know it is in terms of like on one of these shelves. I mean it fits as it's like as much space as like some of our like smaller lighter games. So this one really excited to play it more going forward because man, that was really it hit the hybrid experience that I think I've been looking for. I've played Scythe, I've played Dwellings, I've played some different ones. This one really landed well for me. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed my one play of it to the point where it's on my consideration list. So we'll see.
There you go.
I mentioned that I played Lord of the Rings, the card game, 263 times. I have, in fact, played my number 25 even more. There is only one game that I think that is true.
I know.
And it is Race for the Galaxy, which for both of us is our most played game from a physical play standpoint. I'm sitting at 327, though a few of those now actually are Board Game Arena plays.
Yeah.
That has been fun because it has allowed us to play it with. Though, man, we were able to get some in-person games again. And there's nothing like
so
it.
Good.
Like just to hold the cards, and there's
Ryan.
such low friction.
We were sitting next to each other. It was just a
it was the
experience.
first time where we've played it 320 times. It's the first time ever we played a 2-player game sitting side by side.
Yeah, what'd you think of that, Ryan?
It was a little weird, but we were watching the Nuggets game while we played Race for the Galaxy.
Oh, I was in heaven.
So,
it was delightful.
That's as good as it gets.
It's as good as it gets.
Race for the Galaxy, it has stood the test of time. It is still of games I've played that are in this genre of kind of like card play, looking for combos, building up a tableau of kind of engine building. It's still one of the best. The game came out in 2007. There's been so many games like this that have come out since, but it still really is up there with the best of the best. We're to the point with it where we are so familiar with it that we can play it so quickly. I mean, we play it in 15 minutes,
Yeah.
And it feels like there's no other 15-minute game that makes us feel like we've done as much or made as many interesting decisions. So yeah, it doesn't see nearly as much play as it did when we at one point in our lives were living in the same house. And,
that's true.
Which is something that's very unlikely to happen in the future.
I don't know, Ryan.
I don't know. We all moving in together? Just family house.
You coming over here?
If Rolls in the Family makes it big, we'll just buy a mansion and just that'll be our thing.
Love it.
It's a great game. It'll be an interesting one someday if it's hard to introduce it to new people, right? When you've played it with one person specifically so many times.
Yeah, I did that with my wife once and it was tragic.
So glad we were able to get some plays this year, and it still holds here. It's slipped a little bit, but it's still holding pretty high, given that it basically entered my collection before maybe every other game on this list. It might be the oldest in my collection.
Speaking of pretty old games, this is one that is making a resurgence.
Oh man.
It jumped from 50 last year to 24.
Wow.
It's a big jump. I don't know what it is about this, Ryan, but this game has just been... I feel like my eyes have just been opened once again to the excellence of Summoner Wars.
Wow.
Coming in at number 24. Ryan and I have played a lot of Summoner Wars in the past together. Had the old master set or whatnot, and I have now, but we ended up kind of, had played a lot, kind of phased out. Then they come out with this second edition, and I just felt that itch, Ryan. You know what I mean.
I mean, you heard it from me because I had put it on my list of potential, my birthday list, and I think you saw it on there.
I saw it, and I was like, man, Summoner Wars, it would be really fun to play a game of Summoner Wars again. So picked up the second edition. And two things. One, was reminded this is one of the best designed head-to-head two-player games. I still think to this day, in a dueling head-to-head kind of game, I just don't think I think still to this day, this is one people need to check out. The factions are so interesting. I mean, they're so different in how they play. But on top of that, the second edition makes some awesome improvements, I think, upon the system to where it just feels like they polished it all. And I now, this is one that I'm really just itching to get to the table a lot now because, man, it's just so much fun. We got to play it here recently together. And when you have someone, I know in our game, which we set the record for longest Summoner Wars games we've ever played.
Yeah, it was long.
But man, it is just a fun, tension-filled game around this kind of almost a chess-like feel, but with the interesting characters and how they play. So happy to have this one, and clearly, man, Ryan, that's a jump. That's a big jump.
It's a jump. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah,
man.
So just number 24.
Don't sleep on those older games out there.
It's great.
There's the siren call of all the new stuff, but we've on this list we've had some old classics that are still holding strong. Very nice. After I make that comment, I'm going to go to a much newer,
it's just a
bigger game. But apparently, I didn't look at my list from last year. This jumped 11 spots up. So significant jump here.
Yeah.
And a game that you mentioned for Mechs versus Minions, the disconnect between box size and actual weight, strategic complexity. This game feels a little bit that way too. This is Foundations of Rome. And it's a very elegant game design. I mean, this is a simple, pick one of the three simple actions to do on your turn. Either take a deed, you're going to play a building out, or you're going to take income. And so it's very easy to teach flies around, but there is a lot of nuance in this game that impresses me with just the design. Like if we're just like not even thinking about the production or anything yet. Just the process of it. It's got that Ticket to Ride DNA of like, I kind of want to do all three actions, but like what's most important for me to do now? What can I maybe push my luck a little bit? Like, is that deed going to still be, maybe it'll get a little cheaper because people will buy some things and it'll come down. But if I don't get it, it's going to ruin my plan or these types of things. But we've talked about it before. Really what takes it from good to great, in my opinion, is the overbuilding rules. Like the way that you can overbuild things that you've already, like you can continue to use the lots that you already have built on to potentially build bigger things, just really opens the game up to some creative plays, and just and it's very interactive with how things are on the map, like adjacencies. You know, people might plop down a civic building next to you that scores because it's next to your big commercial building. Well, if I later overbuild that commercial building and put in, a residential, suddenly your civic building isn't getting any of that. And so there's just a lot of room for kind of interesting positioning on the board, or, grabbing a deed that's nowhere that you are, but because you see an opportunity to plop something in because of something somebody else has built. So absolutely love all that. And then you layer on the fact that the Foundations of Rome edition does look amazing on the table.
Looks pretty good.
It's fun to bring out with people that maybe don't normally like the weight of games that you normally need to get to see some of these lavish productions.
Yeah, that's your Gloomhaven.
It's kind of nice to have a game that like I can have that kind of bigger experience with people. In a lighter game. But this is high. I mean, for
this is higher than I was expecting
of game. But I've had some great games of it, and especially games with a little bit bigger groups.
Right.
I'm still pretty high on it.
Wow.
And we'll see.
That's I mean, I know obviously you like it. That's high, Ryan. That says a lot. My number 23, Ryan, is one of the hardest games I think for me to rank, because I don't own it, have not played it in probably a decade. Like I don't know. It's been a long time. But before that decade, played it 96 times and have some of the greatest board gaming memories of this game. So I don't even know what to think about it now. I don't know if I should own it, but this goes to Cosmic Encounter.
Wow, it's pretty high.
It is pretty high. And it's really truly a ranking where this could be, in my top 20, or it could fall off the list, because it's all about just what am I in the moment. But when I just think about this game and I start thinking about the unique aliens and like even the beginning of the game getting dealt those, and they're so big, those just nice components, and choosing that, and the group like above the table, talk during the game is so much fun. This game just has an energy at the table that I think is just extremely fun from a group perspective. And then this is variability to the extreme, because every game you're getting, how do these unique aliens play together? And I think we just have such amazing memories where not only the aliens, but their whole windfall, right? Or no, that's
a flare.
A flare. That's Race for the Galaxy. A flare. There you go. The flares that get mixed in. So you can even get another alien's flare and use the top ability, but if you get your own flare, you can use the special. But like, what a great injection of the aliens not just having an impact on their cards themselves, but they have a drastic impact on the game, even in the cards that you have and whatnot. So, man, I so would love to play a game of Cosmic Encounter again. It can, vary on how well it delivers. I mean, this is not necessarily the most consistent game in terms of what it delivers, but the highs of Cosmic Encounter truly are so high. And to have a group, this is where I think we've both said it would be super fun to like have a new group that you just enter into the Cosmic Encounter world again with, would be a ton of fun. So Yeah, it somehow jumped despite not playing.
Wow.
I think you don't play a game for so long, you start to miss it, and it starts to rise in your ranking.
It is. It is an interesting dynamic. Yeah, this one missed my top 50, and what you were saying with like kind of the inconsistency, like there's a chance of it falling flat, is really the downfall for it right now in my season of life. Because back when we were playing it a ton, you're very forgiving of
We're gonna play it 3
games.
times in this night.
But I'm in a season of life where I don't play individual games that many times, and when I'm trying to play all the games in my collection, so it's just really hard to feel like I want to risk a game session, on a game that might not. That said, I've got some people that have learned it, that are around that, like, I have the ability to put together a good Cosmic game.
Yeah.
So I think it will get played. I did play it here in the last year, so we'll see.
Very nice.
My number 23 is a game that I played once in the last year. I think I've been averaging like one play a year here for a while. And it actually went up 4 spots, so must have been a good game. But this is by one of my favorite designers. He clearly has a lane that he designs in with a lot of these games. But this is one that has kind of differentiated itself enough that I still enjoy having it in my collection. This is Hallertau by Uwe Rosenberg. Another classic farming, resource management Euro
innovative
game.
idea.
But this one has an interesting dynamic with... It's really strange, honestly.
It's a really
trying to
weird game.
It's always hard to describe. You're trying to move your community center, but to do that, you have to move these craft buildings. And there's like these 5 tiles, and each has like a different way that you could spend resources to move it. And so everything you're doing in your engine is to ultimately produce things that'll let you like make the payments on these craft buildings to bump them to the right, so that your
Everyone got that?
building will move.
It's a good thing there's pictures.
But it's got some really nice worker placement. It's got kind of this interesting thing that when you take an action, you're not blocking it from other players. You're just making it'll take them more workers to do it until it's, got all 3 levels that are filled.
Right.
And then each round, only certain ones like refresh. And so it's a very dynamic like action market as far as what's currently an efficient action, and I'd really love to do that, but it's just too expensive to do that right now. I love the element with the fields of like you like upgrade the fields and they bump up, and then like whatever level the field is when you planted it, you're gonna produce that many of that crop, and it just is a very clean system in that like when you go to harvest, you just pull the resources straight over, and then they end up in the bucket that says there's 4 of them or whatever. And so late in the game, I mean, you're like producing tons of stuff. You can very much get the engine going. And then it's got kind of what I would say the Feast for Odin card, where it's like not this crazy, this isn't Agricola with crazy abilities and stuff, but it's a little bit of like give you direction and things to shoot for, and you kind of can get them through the game, so it's a little more tactical. But every time I play Hallertau, I'm just like, man, it's just a good time. It's not in my top tier of Uwe Rosenberg games, but it feels different and it plays faster. It is shorter than some of my favorites, and so it's carved out a niche in my collection.
Yeah, this one would be on my list if I actually played it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the longer it's been since you've played, the more plays you have to have had for it to like really remember it.
Okay, moving to my number 22. This is the best trick-taking game out there. It is small package, but big experience. This goes to Tichu. This one has...
Which most people would actually say it's not technically a trick-taking game. It's actually more of a climbing game.
Okay, well, I take everything back. It's off my
just
list.
I'm trying to keep the...
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
It's failing me.
So Tichu has hung steady, and that's because Tichu, and I've got a couple plays of Tichu in the last year, and oh my gosh, and one of them was just an amazing game. And Ryan, like a great game of Tichu, and it feels like Tichu, most games are great games of Tichu, of just every single time. It is such a fun, enjoyable experience of getting that hand of cards and working with your partner without talking how are we gonna make the best with what we have and try to go out first, and when to call Tichu, and when to even play. Like, that's one of the biggest tensions in Tichu. It's like, I can beat what that person played, but you're always trying to think, how can I set my hand up to go out? To all, like, that's the goal, is to go out. And so if I beat this now and it leaves me with just low singles, I'm not going to go out. And so you maybe have to wait, and just knowing when to go or when to hold. This game, it has so much strategy to it. It really is a deeply strategic game. And the 2v2 element in it is a ton of fun. We've had games of tremendous comebacks. I mean, the whole calling Tichu mechanism and how that changes the round to now rather than just going out first, it's how can I make sure they don't go out first. It's super fun. If you have a group that, like, 3 other people who love this game, it's one that you can really endlessly play. You're not going to get tired of it. Mm-hmm. You're really, really not. So one of my favorite card games out there. There you go, number 22.
Number 22. Well, Daniel, we managed to do it.
We
managed a direct crossover because Tichu is also my number 22 of all time.
Let's go.
It's fantastic. No little card game packs quite. Wow. It punches above its weight class is really how I describe Tichu.
Yeah.
Like, it is the type of game that's so small, but it will win out as like a main event game for a game night.
Yes.
And like, people will like be opting in that that's the one we want to do. And that speaks volumes to just how good this little card game is. I love the depth of strategy and the nuance and the way that you have the limited communication with, your partner. You see it oftentimes after a hand plays out, there will be this discussion around the table where everybody's kind of like saying like, oh yeah, this is what I was thinking. Like, it's everything that you were kind of thinking and couldn't say during the round kind of comes out after, and kind of like it could have done this way or this, but I wasn't sure about this. And it just, like you said, if you have a consistent group that learns the game together and then, can play it, it is just endlessly going to provide that experience. It's got that timeless quality that I think a lot of people like about classic card games like Bridge or some of these things, where it almost can kind of become a lifestyle game. But this one definitely, is in that kind of more strategically interesting side of the spectrum, where it continues to be engaging. I mean, I'm over 100 plays of it, and I still, there's rarely really obvious decisions in Tichu. I mean, as you get better and better, it's so important to be calling Tichu. Sometime, like one of the 4 of you has to go out. So like, that's a winning game is likely going to involve hitting on some Tichu calls. And that is rarely an easy sometimes you're like, I bet one of the best hands I've ever seen. But although I've seen some hands that it was like, I am so confident this is Tichu, and I don't get it because somebody had a bomb or just like somebody had the perfect counter. Like, I played a 9 long straight and somebody had a higher 9 long straight, and I was kind of counting on that being a lead.
Totally.
Great game that has stood the test of time for us. Hit both of us up at 22.
That says a lot. Okay, Ryan, my number 21 was my 21 last year. A former number 1 of all time.
Oh, man.
This goes to Star Wars Imperial Assault. This one, staying steady. I actually just finished up a campaign of this last year. I think for the 3rd time finished the main campaign, which I think speaks volumes to the game that, like, you can play through, some games playing through the same campaign would not be fun. It was a lot of fun playing with different characters, the Imperial side being, those have totally different like classes you can play. This really delivers that the tactical experience of every mission is always interesting, like how to best move and position your characters. Like, it's just a really well designed. On top of, the game has an excellent progression of upgrading. Like, not only, can you every mission you're getting credits and your team can buy weapons and items and stuff, but you have then experience that you're getting that unlocks your own like character's personal abilities, and you're not gonna be able to get everything. And so you can like even a little bit decide like what kind of path do I want to go with in terms of my character's development. You're getting more and more powerful, but the Imperial side is getting more and more powerful too. The game shockingly is really balanced. In the Imperial side can play as hard as they want. Some games it's you almost feel like you have to like go easy so that it's fun for everyone. Not this. Everyone can play as hard as they can, and yet it's still incredibly balanced and well designed and leads toward a finale, which is always epic. This one, it'll be, I actually don't even personally own it anymore, because I've got a friend who has it, and so if we play, we'll play with him. But long time, so many great memories of Star Wars Imperial Assault, and honestly would love to continue to play some of the newer content, and not the main campaign again. I can
maybe
retire
that one. Nice. One of the few games on your list that I have never played.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably will never play.
Yeah, no, you probably won't. Yeah.
Nice. My number 21 is one of the most complex games in my collection. It's long. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of each person's character has a lot going on that's unique to them. This is Too Many Bones.
Okay. Yeah.
And while a lot of that, the design is sprawling, some might even say a little messy, it still comes together into a cooperative experience that's just so dang fun, and varied with the different, tyrants you can use and the different enemies that come out, and the way that it sets up these little tactical battles on this 4x4 grid, where you're combining like the dice rolling of where you're bringing in dice that you've upgraded from your character, but then you're using that to, it is a really clever, well-designed system that has definitely been added to the point where it's got a lot going on. But I've had great games of this. It's very fun to play. 2-player, 3-player, if you got 3 people that like know the game, is really good. It's not one that's going to see the table a lot, though. I played it 3 times in the last year.
That's a lot.
Which is saying something for a big, long game like this. But it has kind of... It's a little bit lower than some other games that I'll talk about later here that I would put in a similar kind of category of longer 2-player complex, maybe cooperative games or whatever. But it still has such a unique identity, and I really enjoy it that, it just missed the top 20, but it dropped 8 spots. I could see it rising though. It'll be interesting to see just as this one gets to the table. More.
Yeah, this one didn't make my list, although the game has piqued my interest in a game that shares much of the design elements in Elder Scrolls. The chips are fantastic quality. It's really is.
You can count on chip theory for the chips.
Yeah, it really is a fantastic game.
Hey, did you actually watch to the end of the video? I'm going to tell you how to get 20 more entries in the giveaway. Just kidding. Sorry. We appreciate you watching the end of the video. If you didn't enter at the beginning, make sure you do. Maybe you can win one of these great board games that we talked about today. And stay tuned for our 20 to 11.